Hey guys, welcome back for our next block. Today is a cluster braid. It's a bit more intricate, so we'll kind of get started here just on row 3. We're going to skip ahead, and overall you're just going to be repeating 2 rows each time, so it's kind of easy once you know what you're doing, so that's something to look forward to. To get started, this is going to be 24 stitches wide. So for row 1 we have double crochets, and row 2 is single crochets. So start off with a chain of 26, and a portion of that chain counts as your first stitch. So you're going to insert into the 4th stitch from the hook. So 26, 25, 24, and then you would go into stitch 23 there. And from there you do 23 double crochets across to get your total of 24. For row 2 you just chain 1, and then do 24 single crochets all the way across for row 2. Once you get to this point, go ahead and pick back up right here. So for row 3, you're going to chain 3. This will count as your first double. Then you're going to do 6 more double crochets. This counts as our first, so don't start here. We're going to start here and do 6. There's 5 and 6. For a border around the braids, we're going to be doing some front post double crochets, and you're going to be wrapping around the post of the double crochets beneath. So you skip the single crochet row each time. If you're not sure quite where to do this first one, you'll just count over. You'll include that chain bit as a stitch, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like we just did, and you're going to go around this 7th stitch. So I'll do this first one a little slow in case if you are a little rusty. You go from the front and back around the entire post, back out to the front, and you treat that as your stitch. So you anchor down, yarn over, pull through 2 1 time, yarn over, pull through 2 2 times. Now this counted as our stitch, so we will skip a space behind, okay, and we're going to do 2 double crochets. So again, skip that space behind and start right here, 1 and 2. And for here, we're going to not stay even with our stitches below. Instead of just only skipping the 2 to account for what you did up top, we're actually going to skip over 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here in this 4th post from your front post, we're going to make a cluster. So yarn over, front post cluster, so we're treating this post like our stitch, yarn over, pull up, and pull through these 2. Yarn over, whoop, insert, pull up, pull through these 2, yarn over, insert, and pull up, yarn over, pull through these 2. Okay, and then to finish our cluster, you go through all 4 on your hook. Okay, and you're going to skip the space behind because this counted as a stitch, and we're going to do 2 double crochets between the cluster braids. And then now we're going to do another cluster in the post directly next to this one we've just done. So yarn over, treat that post like a stitch, pull up, through the 2, yarn over, insert, pull it up, through the 2, yarn over, insert, pull it up, through the 2, and now pull through all 4 on your loop. Great. Okay, so skip this stitch because our cluster counted as 1, and you're going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2. Okay, and then we want to mirror what we're doing on this side to frame it. So here we have 1, 2, 3 posts between our cluster and this little front post here. We want to do the same thing. So down low, we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th, do a front post double crochet. There we are. So what you'll notice is that we have a front post double crochet as a border, 2 regular double crochets, cluster, 2 double crochets, cluster, 2 double crochets, front post, and then we'll finish out the row. You're going to be doing that, make sure you skip that. You're going to be doing this for the whole block. However, we want to make sure you're getting in the middle of this braid. So I am going to stick with you here for a little bit. Finish out this block, or excuse me, this row, and then for row 4, you're just going to do 24 single crochets across. So I will be meeting you guys for row number 5. Okay, I will see you there. Okie dokie. So here we are ready for row 5. I did my chain 1 and 24 single crochets across. So to get started here, you'll chain 3. This counts as your first double crochet. That said, make sure you're going into the top of that anytime you do your single crochets across. Don't forget about that one. We do 6 double crochets. And while I'm doing this, I just want to point out that this is the row that you will continue to repeat until the block is done. So that first row dealt with just a lot of weird counting and making sure that we had our placements correct. Now that that's done, you're just going to be inserting into the spaces that we've already made. So that makes it nice and easy. Okay, so here's number 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't really count and talk. Here we go. So from here on out, you'll skip that one, and you're going to do your front post around the double crochet below. And again, this is just creating kind of a nice border. Okay, that counts as a stitch. 2 double crochets in between everything fancy that we are doing here. Okay, and then now for your cluster. So because we want this to look like a braid, you're going to be using the 2 posts that you put in between each one, and you'll do that each time. So around that post from in between, pull that up, make that cluster stitch, and through all 4. That counts as a stitch, so make sure you skip behind. 2 double crochets between everything fancy. Cluster around the second in-between post. row 4. That counts as a stitch. So skip behind, do your 2 double crochets, and then do the other bordering front post. Okay. Make sure you skip behind, and then you will do your double crochets to finish out the row. So I'm going to pause and show you what this is looking like so far. You have your border on either side. You have this pretty braid starting to form, and you should always have 2 double crochets in between everything. And for your braided portion, you're going to use those posts on your next row. So you'll repeat this row 5 and your single crochet across, and you'll alternate that until your block gets to the size that you want it to be. So I will see you guys back here when we have our finished block. Cool, so here is my finished block. As far as how big mine turned out, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cluster rows. And I finished on a cluster row. I did not finish on a single crochet. Instead, what you see here is my border. So as a reminder, if you're following the series, we do 28 stitches across. So I did 2 and 1 here and there to get that to hit my 28. And I just did the math to figure out what to do for the sides. So make sure you border that with 28 on either side. But all in all, really, really pretty block, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.